Shalom. I am Rabbi Nathan Davidovich, speaking to you on behalf of the webyeshiva.org, speaking to you from Efrat, Israel. This week's Torah reading is Parsha Bo. And in this Torah reading, we have a continuation of the 10 plagues that God visited upon the Egyptians because Pharaoh would not let the Jewish people go. As with everything else in the Torah is our guidebook to our existence in this world. And we learn many messages that affect us today as to how we should live. One of the problems that we have throughout the world with many people is the sense of darkness, that we're in a period of where many people feel gloom. There are many difficult things taking place. People hate one another. People no longer respect one another. We spend so much time with hatred of our fellow human beings, hatred of somebody whose views are different than yours. This isn't the way that God wants the world to run. This isn't the way that God created the world. So in this particular Torah reading of this week, we have the plague of darkness. And in the plague of darkness, the darkness was so thick that it was palpable. One person could not see anybody else. And the Torah tells us the darkness was so thick that v'lo ro ish es achiv v'lo komu ish mitachtav. Not only could a person not see one another, the darkness was so thick you couldn't stand up. If you were sitting down, you couldn't sit down. If you were standing up, you couldn't move from your place. And the Chidushi Harim says an interesting thing about this plague of darkness. He says, what is the greatest darkness that we have? What is this telling us? It's telling us the remedy to get out of darkness. And he says, when the Torah tells us, Shelo ro ish es achiv, one person did not see another. He says what that means is that when we're looking at our fellow human beings, our fellow Jew, are we really seeing this person? Are we really seeing what this person is about? Are we really seeing that this person is created with the Holy Soul? He says, what the Torah is teaching us is that oftentimes we don't understand that our job is to look at our friend and do things that are good for him out of love, out of a good heart, and to help our friend in the time of difficulty. And not only that, but it says further, L'chol b'nei Yisrael hoy or b'moshvosam. To all of the children of Israel, there was light in their dwellings. Now, the concept of light, as applied to the Jewish people, is a concept we talk about many times. We talk about the Jewish people as needing to be an or lagoyim, a light to the nations, to teach the nations morality, to teach the nations to live in light instead of darkness. And what he says that where every Jew had light in their dwelling place, means it's incumbent upon each of us to do good for the fellow man, for our fellow man, and to multiply the love for our neighbors. And when you're looking at somebody, instead of looking for defects, you have to look for good qualities and talk about their good qualities. You have to fulfill what it says, V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. You should love your neighbor as yourself. Loving your neighbor means to be concerned with your neighbor. You want to get out of the darkness? Take the darkness away from your friend. Say good things about your friend. Stop hatred. When your friend has something that maybe you desire, you're jealous, ask yourself, is that how I'm supposed to be? The ethics of the fathers says, Ezeo Osher, who is rich? Hasomeach bechelko, the person who is satisfied with what he has. But the word bechelko can be also translated as bechelik of somebody else, the part of somebody else. The rich person is somebody who is satisfied with what your neighbor has, happy with what your neighbor has. If you happen to be driving an old car, your neighbor gets a new car, don't think, oh, why does he have to get that car? Why don't I get it? No. Be happy for your neighbor. That's what it means to get out of darkness, to spread the light of love. And Rabbi Biederman says an interesting thing. He says as follows. He says in the chapter that we read up in Shemot, the first book of the book of Exodus, the first chapter of the book of Exodus, it says, "Vatiftach v'tireu es hayeled, v'hinei nar bocha," that the daughter of Pharaoh saw the ark of Moses floating on the Nile River, and she pulled it to the shore, and she saw a yeled, a child, and then it says, "V'hinei nar bocha," and a young man, a lad, was crying. Obviously, one place talking about the Yeled, the child, baby Moses, Nar is referring to somebody else. And then she said, and it says, "Vatachmal alav," she had mercy on this baby Moshe, baby Moses. Vatomer miyalde oivrim came, and she said, this is a Jewish child. And he asks a question. The sentence starts with Yeled, with seeing a child, and it ends with Nar, a young man. And he brings an explanation that the word Nar, young man, refers to Moshe's brother, Aaron. And Aaron was standing from afar and looking to see what would happen to his brother, Moses, on the Nile. And he was crying. He was standing on the side and crying on the difficulty of his brother. Therefore, she said, this must be a Jewish child, because this is the way that Jews act, to partner with their fellow Jew, to take part in their difficulty, to cry when your brother is having a problem. That's how you get out of darkness. And that's what it means to be a Jew, to be a human being, to have Rachmanus, show mercy on your fellow man, to look for the good things and talk about the good things, and stop talking about the bad in everybody else. Stop calling people names. Respect a viewpoint. even if you don't agree with it. And you will find that if you train yourself to take that kind of an approach of looking at people, looking at the positive, you will see that suddenly your world is very bright because you've dispelled the darkness. Let us all work hard to dispel the darkness within ourselves and around the world by spreading the light that the Torah gives us the ability to spread. Thank you for listening on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. I wish everybody a wonderful Shabbat.